What's up, my enlightened ones? Welcome back. In today's video, guys, I will be doing the official review of the Divine Melanin Tarot Deck, Enlightened Ones Tarot Deck Divine Melanin. I'm super excited, guys. It's been a whirlwind experience. I can't even explain it. I just know that I got the vision in my head to create this deck and exactly how it would look. And I started creating the deck, and months later, I had the finished product, got the decks delivered to figure out which, card stock that I wanted and all these features. And I came up with the one that I chose was literally what I saw. And then I also, guys, I have two different versions of the deck. I have the linen version, which is what we have here. And then we have our standard version here. So it's not linen, it's just supreme smooth. It is super smooth, it's silky in your hands. It's a beautiful feel. The linen deck is a beautiful feel on the hands, and it just, the linen is a little bit better quality. It's going to last a little longer. It's going to take, heavy-handed people, and it's going to take some more of that damage a little bit better. So the decks do not have a box. I decided to just do a cover card of the deck here with this beautiful Melanin Divine Goddess, which is actually the Two of Wands in the deck. The reason why I chose her for the face is because the Two of Wands, that inspired actions, is what it took for me to create this deck. So she ended up being the face of the deck. There's other cards that were, runner-ups, but I chose her because she in my mind represents this Divine Melanin deck and represents the beauty of blackness and the beauty of just being natural with her afro. So yeah, and then this deck, guys, I had to have the crystals, of course, throughout the whole deck. You got your cover card, and then you have some information here on the back. So that's really cool. And then this deck also does not come with a physical guidebook. It comes with a digital guidebook, which is really convenient. And we decided to do that for cost purposes. I didn't want the deck to be $100, but the digital guidebook is really cool. I have the QR code to take you straight to the guidebook, and then it just tells you what the different cards are, the suits and everything, if you don't know, if you're a beginning. So we've gotten a lot of feedback about the digital guidebook being a very useful tool, being very convenient and easy. And you guys can go on to our website at any time and review the guidebook, and view the tarot meanings there on our website. So it's such a cool resource that we have, and it's saving on paper, it's saved on cost, it's helping the environment, and it's digital, which is the kind of world that we live in. So that's what you get when you get into the deck. It's been an amazing journey. I can't even explain it, guys. Like, I've gotten so much feedback and positive, heartfelt feedback, and we've gotten, some advice, and we've gotten so many reviews, and to be honest with you guys, like, our community has grown drastically, and we're out here making connections with people, and I can't even put it into words, like how grateful and honored I am, and how blessed I really feel, and how I want my story to inspire other people to do whatever it is in their lives that they want to do, because you can do it. You just got to take that Two of Wands, that inspired actions, and you got to put the fire and the drive to those actions, and you got to be aligned with the universe. I was super aligned with the universe when creating this deck. I had seen so many synchronicities that kept confirming the journey, that kept confirming my purpose, that kept confirming for me to do this. And it was huge. And even putting it out there, and even still to this day, I'm super nervous about it, because you're putting yourself out there, just like when you are a musician like I am. So I'm putting music and stuff out there, putting myself out there, and it's terrifying, guys. And so it was very, very terrifying creating the deck and putting it out there, but the love that this deck has received, it was all worth it in the end, period. But back onto the synchronicities, I was receiving so many synchronicities, guys, like insane amounts of synchronicities. And what's crazy is when I had the vision of what the deck looked like before I even started creating it, which was what drove me to create it in the first place, it literally came out looking exactly how I envisioned it. So that was another reminder, and that was another nudge from the universe telling me that I did and confirming that I did exactly what the universe wanted me to do, which was to get this deck out there. And it's been so beautiful connecting with these other tarot deck creators that have created black tarot decks and seeing all this beautiful work and this beautiful vision, which is great because it's like in this space, we're still not really represented. And like for me, it was really important. It was also really important for me to create not only a melanin tarot deck because I am a melanated woman, but because I'm also a tarot reader. And I've been reading tarot for about over 25 years at this point. And so I've been doing it for a long time, guys. And for me, it was really important for me to create a tarot deck as a tarot reader. Creating the deck, I had to keep reminding myself, guys, there are aspects of the traditional tarot deck and some other tarot decks that I've grown to love over the years that I've took inspiration from. But I want people to know and remember that this is not completely traditional because I am a rebellious person at heart, guys. And so I'm always trying to do something different than what everybody else is doing. So although I do have traditional aspects in my decks, there are some untraditional aspects. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do this video, so that I can show you guys kind of my thoughts in my mind behind why I created this deck. And what's cool about my deck is it does come with the guidebook, and the guidebook has the meaning so that you can see what the meanings are. And yes, a lot of the meanings are on the lines of the traditional meanings. But what I tell people when I'm teaching people how to do tarot readings is that at the end of the day, whatever the card means to you is what that card means. So if you really think about it, there are hundreds of meanings for one card because it can mean very different things for different people. And I had to just remember that when creating this deck, that it's mine. I'm not following to the exact T, because in my mind, I was like, let's get a deck out here that, you know, has aspects of this traditional, but I wanted it to be beautiful. I wanted it to be super melanated. I wanted it to be vibrant. Even this card is so vibrant. I wanted it to stand out. And I feel like I achieved that. I've gotten a lot of feedback that I've literally achieved everything that I could envision and that I was thinking when creating this deck. And I mean, I was pouring all of my energy and love into the deck that I had. And to the point, guys, where I put everything to the side. If you guys know me personally, you know that I am a musician as well. And I put music to the side. I had music projects going on. I halted everything because I knew the universe gave me a vision and I needed to act on that vision, and I needed to create this deck. And for me, it's been so liberating, and it's been so awakening me spiritually, guys, that like I said, I don't really have words to describe. I feel like all of the words, the energy and love is in this deck. So let's go ahead and get into it. So like I said, it's super, super smooth. I'll try not to have the light shining on here, but I need it light because I wanted you to see it. I've had it for months, so it has a little bit of wear on it, of course, but I mean, it's still holding in for a person that's using my cards daily. So I'm super proud of that. So it's super, super cool. Purple, obviously, because purple is my signature color, but also because purple represents that third eye and intuition. And when we're using tarot, we need to be using our intuition, right? We need to be lined up. We need to have that third eye open. We need to have that crown, that crown chakra open to receive the messages and advice from the divine and that higher, the higher being and the higher self. So that's one of the reasons why I did purple. Just so you guys also know too, all the decks will come in shrink wrapped, since they're not coming in boxes that are dedicated for the actual deck. One thing that I forgot to mention that I also want to mention, guys, is when creating this deck, I had the self-reflection type of mindset. And so what you'll see in this deck is you'll see a lot of cards that don't have a lot of people in them. It's usually an individual. Some of the cards might have a few more than an individual person. But I wanted the deck to be more of a self-reflective deck, because what people need to understand is like everything that happens in your life is happening from what's inside of you. So for instance, if you're not attracting love, do you lack self-love? Just reflecting inwards, and that reflection inwards projecting out into your life. And so that's the mindset that I had when creating this deck. So a lot of it is more of a self-reflected. Now obviously the cards can mean, you know, when you're doing a reading, it can obviously represent other people and not necessarily yourself, but you're going to see a lot of self in this deck because it's more of a self-reflective deck. We have the Fool here. I did not start off with creating the Fool. Actually, the first card I created was the Strength because I needed the strength and the confidence and courage to actually do this. So that was the first card I created. I did not go in order. I went in order based on how I went in the order that I intuitively felt. So that day, if I felt to be called to make a certain card, that was the card that I made. And I didn't stop working on it until it was how I could see it in my mind before actually creating it. So this was, like I said, it was a very spiritual journey for me. It was a very intuitive journey. It took a lot of my third eye and my crown chakra, and it took a lot of listening to the universe and being aligned to get the messages from the divine to create the deck the way that I created and how I created it and why and all of that fun stuff. So the first card we have here is the Fool. And yes, there are some traditional things. She's, you know, in the mountains. You could kind of see that it looks like she might be on a cliff. She does have her dog there with her, and she's carrying her light backpack, her light baggage, which is usually what we see in the traditional Fool. Usually in the traditional Fool, like, you know, it's usually a male. He is, or that masculine energy, and he's like literally getting ready to walk off of a cliff. And he has this, you know, look on his face where, you know, he's kind of excited for life and what he has ahead of him. When I see the Fool, I think of that like 18, 19-year-old self where you're finally getting ready to go off into the world on your own and start living that adulthood. That's kind of what I see in the Fool. The Fool's also, you know, it really just represents new beginnings. And with my Fool, the first card of the deck, I had to have her have an afro, guys. If you know, I love my afro. There's something about rocking that afro and that confidence when rocking the afro. And that's why the face of the deck is she has an afro. The first card in the deck is an afro. Because I remember back in the day when I was, you know, not really confident wearing my afro. And, you know, some people would look and stare, and, you know, some people would compliment, and I still get that to this day. But it's something about just that confidence and representing that natural melanin, you know, coarse hair, the 4C hair and the afros. And it's something magical to me about that and powerful. So that's why she has an afro. And then she has more of a kind of like a mean mug, but not like mean. It's more of a like, I'm determined and nothing's going to get in my way. And that's what's really crucial and important about the Fool in general is like, you know, you can't let society get in your way. You can't let people get in your way. You have to make way for yourself, and you kind of have to be strong traveling through, you know, this new world that you're getting ready to experience, or this new journey, depending on what's going on with your life. And so I wanted her to have this unbothered look on her face, like, I'm not bothered, nothing's stopping me, nothing's getting in my way. And she came out exactly how I wanted her. Of course, we have the Magician, you know, and some things are, you know, traditional here with the infinity sign, understanding that you have infinite possibilities to you. All the elements are here. Usually, sometimes in traditionals, I've seen where the sword is facing downward, for the as above, so below. What's within is without. What's in your mind comes to fruition is really what this card represents. It says that you have all the tools that you need to achieve whatever it is in your life that you're trying to achieve. And I put these ones down here, those ones in her hand. She has everything she needs, infinite possibilities on all of the magical things that she could do with her life. And when we think of the Magician, we think of, you know, wizards, we think of witches, we think of magic. So, you know, I had to throw the witch hat on her. And then I gave her more of the lock looking hair effect, because you'll see that a lot in this deck. Locks are very important in the Black community. So that's her. We have our High Priestess, which is our psychic. She's the psychic of the deck, right? She's able to go within and see, things for what they are. She's able to listen to the universe, take those, those inspired actions, get those visions that's needed so that she can manifest her best life. We have our Empress, guys, and no, she's most definitely not the traditional, more in the traditional sense. She's one of my favorites. Many cards are my favorite. They're all my favorites, but I have, favorites, and she's one of them. She almost ended up being the face of the deck, but I ended up choosing the Two of Wands because it was more of a personal reason for that. It was more of like I had to take those inspired actions, and that's why. But she's natural with her afro. Sunflowers was a huge thing for me. I was never really a sunflower fan, like, not that I disliked them. I just, I wasn't really a fan of them. And my aunt that passed a while back was like, it was one of her favorite flowers. And I seen a lot of sunflowers and just at an abundant rate when creating this deck. So in some of these cards, these cards of life, and abundance, I put the sunflowers for that reason. I wanted her to look like she was out in nature because, and no, she's not pregnant. She could still represent fertility with the abundance of flowers and her being in nature, because in my mind, the Empress is the Mother Earth card. She is the queen of the deck. She's the royalty of the deck. She's the highest in the deck, queen-wise. She represents life and abundance and nourishment. And that's all the things that you need to do for the flowers and stuff to grow around you. I wanted people to perceive that in this card. And no, she's not pregnant, but she still can represent pregnancy, and so can the sun. But we'll get to the sun when we get there. Of course, we have her king, the emperor. And I love my emperor. He's nothing like the traditional emperor at all. And I love that. The traditional emperor looks a little bit more scary, a little bit more mean. I didn't want my emperor to look that way. I wanted him to look peaceful, because when we think about the emperor, they represent Aries energy, the start. So Aries are good at starting stuff and letting other people finish it. So in my mind, I wanted him to look like he was kind of resting, because he put in his work. He created this castle. He created this empire, and he is now resting, and he is very masculine, but he also has a feminine side to him. And it's amazing. Of course, I have the flowers, him looking like he's in nature, because he may not be Mother Earth, but he is also like that sun that you need with that, you know what I mean? With the moon, like he completes it all. So love him. My Hierophant is nothing really like traditional. I did make him an older man, right? And the reason why is because the Hierophant is like, it's like that older man. It's like, like the priest in a sense, and my deck's not really religious at all. It's more spiritual than anything, but the oldness represents the years of experience, the years of knowledge. So this is someone that you go to like a teacher. And in my mind, older people are just wiser. And that's why I was like, let me make an old man. He's kind of sitting on a throne as well, to represent that years of experience, the years of knowledge that people need when they pull this card. The Lovers, I have the angel flying above them, which is more on the, kind of the traditional side. And then I have my feminine and my masculine energy here. And, this is that Gemini energy, that yin and that yang, the twins. And so in this card, I did decide to have multiple people in it so that I could really, so people can understand that the Lovers is the yin and the yang. Like there has to be the feminine and the masculine energy when we're thinking about the Lovers. And of course, they're gorgeous. Very beautiful card, very beautiful. We have the Chariot. She's sitting on a chariot. Yes, it's kind of hard to tell. Once again, the chariot in my mind represents that willpower. Like this is the willpower to move forward. It's another courage card. And oh my goodness, does she look like she is not afraid of the journey. And that's kind of what we get when we get the chariot. Like it's going on that journey. And she's like unbothered. She's gorgeous, beautiful. She almost was the face of the deck. And her long curly hair, and she is determined, which is another thing that this card represents. And I wanted those features to really pop in her facial expression, that she has that willpower, that determination, and that courage to go forward. She's sitting in her chariot and she's chilling. Nope, I didn't have the horses or anything like that. I really wanted it to show the willpower, and she kind of looks like a lieutenant or a sergeant in my mind. Like, I'm running this right here. I got this going. We have the beautiful, beautiful, beautiful strength card. Like I mentioned in the beginning, the strength card is the first card that I created when creating the deck, because I did this all intuitively. I didn't go in any order, except for when I really started getting into like the suits and the swords and those type of cards, the wands and stuff. I kind of went more in order with those cards, but with my major arcana, I did it really 100% intuitively, what popped in my mind for that day for me to create. The first card I created was the strength card. Usually the strength card, the woman is taming the lion. I didn't want that. I wanted strength to be perceived in a different way. It's all about, having the strength, the courage, the confidence, and the control. But in my mind, walking amongst the lions, you have more control and you have more confidence and courage doing that than taming the lion, if that makes sense. Like, I didn't want her taming it, because yes, this card can represent control, obviously. So can the devil, but this card in my mind represents courage and confidence. And when you're walking with lions, like you're standing with the lions, you got to be the most confident in the room, like a Leo. Anyways, carrying on to the hermit, there are some traditional things. Night. He has his, his lantern or his fire here so that he can see the light. What's cool about this one is I put the sunglasses on him, wearing sunglasses at night. This card reminds me of my father, and my father was a hermit. He was a Virgo. Hermit represents Virgo energy, and he loved wearing his sunglasses at night. Like, Dad, can you see? And this card is all about going within and being able to see. And so he's by himself. He's on a cliff. He's far away from society. This card reminds us that sometimes we need to be far away from society and people, and sometimes we need to be that hermit. We need to be in isolation. Sometimes this card also in reversely represents, isolating or being isolated, which we need to be careful for. But Virgos need to find themselves from within. They are really within self-reflectors, and that's what I wanted this card to really represent. This is kind of traditional. We have the wheel, the symbols. I just did the Wheel of Fortune, kept it really simple. I put no people in this card. Set up kind of like an altar like situation with the wheel there. The wheel represents the end of things because it's the 10. It can be the start of something. It can be completions. It also means good fortune, wheel of fortune, good luck, things working out, alignment, and balance when we see that card. My Justice card, kind of the traditional. We have the beams. I kept it really simple, did the scale, the Libra scale here over her head, and very, very simple, because that's the justice. It ain't, sometimes it ain't simple and sometimes it is simple. It depends on what position you pulled it in and the surrounding cards, of course. But this card is about balance. That balance between law and order, that balance between wrong and right, that balance, right? This card represents balance. And she's kind of chilling, like she's trying to find that balance here too. And so I love that a lot. I kept her really simple. And just kept a couple of the traditional things. Now, my Hanged Man, I've gotten a lot of feedback on my Hanged Man. My Hanged Man is completely different from all the Hanged Mans I feel like anyone will ever see, because I needed to steer away from the traditional Hanged Man. I did not want my Hanged Man looking like the traditional Hanged Man. The traditional Hanged Man kind of bothers me, and some of them I've seen the Hanged Man hanging from a tree. I didn't like that. Especially being African American, I did not like that at all. About the traditional. On some of them, he's kind of like on a cross, and hanging upside. I don't know. I didn't like it. And so I got to have fun with this card because, I said, you know what? It does not need to be traditional. It's fine if it's not traditional. And what does the Hanged Man mean to me? So once again, this got back into how I had to get really, spiritual about this whole situation. And I had to dig deep down in myself on what these cards meant to me all these years. And in my mind, the Hanged Man is seeing things from a different perspective, letting things go. letting things be what they are, kind of like surrendering. And we get a lot of that naturally when we meditate, guys. People don't understand the importance of meditating, how important it is, especially when you're dealing with, needing to see things from a different perspective, needing to let things go. Meditation helps. So he is meditating and he is upside down because, yes, in the traditional hanged man, he's hanging upside down, and so he's upside down because when you're upside down, you see the world from a different light. You see the world from a different perspective. And that's why I did what I did with this one. I had fun with the Death card. I was originally going to do a Sugar Gypsy. I loved my Sugar Gypsy, but I made a couple, and with a lot of these cards, there was multiple versions of the card, and it was like what resonated for me. And so I wanted the orange colors to pop. I'm a big skull fan, guys. I love skulls. If you go to my website, there's skull rings and necklaces there, pendants, but I love skulls. I've always had a love for them. I don't know why. I had a very interesting gothic phase when I was in high school, so I would say it might have come from that, but I've always loved them. So my goal was to put the skulls here, but the skulls, the death, it represents deaths. In my mind, it doesn't represent actual death. That would be something that I've seen over the last 25 years in the Tower card. This card is more of like the transition cards, and in some decks it's called transition because it being called death scares some people. It's transitions, it's closing of chapters, it's moving forward. It represents Scorpio energy, and if you don't know a Scorpio, know that if you cross one or you make one matter, you do something with one, they gone, they ain't coming back. They are able to move on like no other. And she just looks cool. She's putting death to the situations that no longer serve her, to the people that no longer serve her. We have the Temperance. I love, 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 love her. There's some traditional things, the wings, there's some not. In my mind, the Temperance represents patience and balance, right? And I made her hair. She has the longest hair out of every character in this deck because it takes patience for the hair to grow. You need to nurture it, and you need to remain calm. Now, this represents Sagittarius energy. And if you guys know anything about the fire signs, Aries start the fire, Leos maintain the fire, but Sagittariuses are able to see the fire all the way through when no one else can see it. So she has this look of patience on her face. She's beautiful. I put the turquoise crystals on her also to represent that Sagittarius energy and that tranquility, which is what this card also represents. It represents balance, patience, tranquility, calmness, and that's why all the Sagittariuses that I know is very patient and very calm. It takes a lot to really piss them off because they're so calm and they're able to see that light when no one else can. If you don't got a Sagittarius in your life, friend-wise or otherwise, guys, you need to get you one in your life for real. And they got that fire about them like no other fire sign, I promise. We have the Devil. The Devil is not traditional. We have the Devil. There's not two people here. In my mind, the Devil was just something that people may perceive as wrong, trying to take your energy or control you, but understanding that you have control. So in here, he's holding a chain in the back, his horns, he's, reddish color, and there's these chains here, but she's not tied up to chains. Like if you can see over here, this is like hanging past her. So it's like she's not really tied up to anything, right? She does have this look on her face. The Devil represents Capricorn energy. So Capricorns in general they're good at being bosses and whatnot, managers, because they are able to control people. Some control people in a very sweet, nice way, and some in a wrong. I've seen both throughout the years having Capricorn managers and stuff like that. And so this is opposite of the Lovers. And in my mind, I think and I could have did that with my deck, but I didn't, because the Gemini does represent the Lovers, and I see that a lot. But in my mind, I actually see a switch. I see the Capricorns as more in the regards of the Lovers, and the Geminis more as the Devil, just because Geminis can control people using the mind, which is very strong than people can understand. Like air signs controlling people's mindsets is very, very strong. So sometimes I see them flipped. I didn't flip them here. I would say, you know, still in that sense, we see it, but that's just how I see them in my mind. But, you know, you can control your life and don't let others control your life. Gain that control. And, you know, this card can represent just losing that control, just depending on what position you bring it in. It can represent, you know, things like addictions and things like that, you know. And so that's what we kind of see with this card. And like I said, she's not super traditional, but was my vision. We have the infamous Tower card, guys. So this is one of my favorite cards in the deck, not in the tarot world. Like, to me, the Tower is the bad card. It's the card I don't ever want to see. Now, if I am seeing the Tower, I do want to see it in a good position, saying that I'm getting through this, you know. And so the Tower in my mind has always been that wake you up to shake you up type of card and type of energy. It wakes you up, it shakes you up. Sometimes we are not aligned, we are not in sync with the universe. We're not receiving synchronicities confirming and validating our purpose and where we are at in the moment. And so sometimes the Tower has to, you know, the universe has to shake things up. You know, we see fires, we see divorces, we see people being fired from their jobs, we've seen even death, you know. And so with this card, it's one of them cards where if you see it, you need to be strong, right? And you needing to be strong is literally what I did in her face. Like, her face, and look at how proud she's walking, with the level of confidence and courage and strength that she needs to get through this Tower moment. She's walking away from this castle that's on fire, which is a lot of the traditional sense, except for in here, like I said, a lot of self-reflecting. So it's just herself. There's not people flying out the window like the traditional cards. There's not people running around like some of the traditional cards. It's her walking away like, you know what? My castle just got burnt down, but it didn't burn me. It didn't stop me. You know, I'm still here. I'm gonna fight to live another day. And that's why this card in this deck is one of my favorites, because now when I see it, I'm like, oop, I pulled the Tower. Or if I'm doing a reading for a client, oh, you pulled the Tower, but you literally have what it takes to get through this moment. And what's cool about this is after the Tower, we have the Star, right? And so after a Tower moment, you need the Star. Right, you need the Star. You need the universe telling you that, you know, the stars are aligning. Like the Star being right after the Tower is magnificent, because it's like you went through that crazy moment, and now you need to have that strength, that faith, and that courage, that and know that the stars align, and keep that hope and that faith, because you just went through some things. And when people go through stuff, they lose their hope and their faith immediately. Right? If your castle burnt down, you are hopeless. You're just like, dang, like I'm gonna have to rebuild. And when we see the Star, which is Aquarius energy, we see, I know that the stars will align. I know that the universe is working things out for me. I believe in divine timing and divine everything. And just, that's what this card is. We got the Star huge. And we have her looking just peaceful, because she just went through the Tower moment. So she needs to rest after that. And in all of that, we also have the Moon, guys. I love the Moon, some of my Moon. And I love the Star. These, you know, my Moon is in Pisces. So, you know, I resonate with the Moon card. And my sun sign, Aquarius, is the Star. So these cards hold dearly to my heart because of my birth chart, you know, my signs. But anyways, so there are some traditional things. We got a big moon in the background. We have the wolf, and we also have the dog, like the traditional cards. And this card just represents, like, you know, things coming to the light. The moon is so big, and that's why she's lit up. And it's not a completely like dark card. Like this card is even a little darker, right? Because it's like, hey, the moon is exposing things. The moon is showing you things. The moon is and this card also represents hidden things, which, you know, when it's dark outside, you can't see everything. And so that's what this card represents. And I kept both these cards, especially this one, because this card is a lot of like paying attention to your intuition. paying attention to your dreams, paying attention to the signs from the universe, which takes a lot of third eye and it takes a lot of crown chakra opening to be able to receive those messages. Oh, another one of my favorite guys is the sun. I love the sun. It was so fun making the sun. There are some traditional things and, there's different sun cards, but, they're the child on the horse. The horse is smiling and happy, and the child is smiling and then laughing, and the sun is huge. And of course, I put the sunflowers because the sunflowers meant a lot to me creating this deck. I feel like my aunt was helping to guide me. She was very spiritual in the last years of her life, and she was very intuitive, and she was a Pisces, so she was super intuitive. And I felt like she helped guide me through this journey to create this deck. And I know she would have been proud of me, and I know she would have, helped me out with it. And so the sunflowers, it has a deeper meaning than people can even, than people really know. But the sun is all about joy, happiness, and we see that this card makes people smile. We've gotten a lot of feedback, like people smile, they love it, they see it. When you pull it, you're just like, everything's going to be all right, and this card also represents pregnancy as well. You get that here. I am a mother of 2 boys. So, it being a son, it being the masculine energy and male was really important to me because my son is my son's. We have Judgment. We're getting close to the end of the major arcana, the Judgment. There's some traditional sense here, the trumpet, the wings. I don't have a lot of the symbolisms and stuff like that, but it was like your day has come, your time has come, you're being judged on what you've done in past lives. Are you aligned? This is also a card saying, hey, are you aligned? You're almost to the end of this journey. Did you learn the lessons of this journey? And usually when, we see the world or we see this card, the Judgment, in reverse, sometimes you didn't learn the lessons of whatever that chapter that was in your life at that time. So that's what this card represents. The world is not traditional at all. And it was because I wanted to have so much fun with this card. I was like, the world, she almost ended up being the face of the deck as well. I was like, I want her to have a world behind her, not like she's on the world, like she has the world, and dancing and happy because she just completed whatever it was in her life that she was dealing with, whatever chapter, whatever situation she was dealing with, whatever's next. This card can mean all kinds of things. It can mean pregnancy and birth of new things, and it can mean, it's just one of those things. It's like, hey, like, if you started off with the Fool and now you're here, now you started from the bottom, now you're here type of situations. And that's what I wanted the world. I wanted it to be huge behind her, like she had the world in her hands, like the world is hers. And that was really important to me. So I did not keep it traditional at all. But like I told you guys in the beginning, I'm rebellious. So I took aspects of traditional cards, decks, and put a twist. I put an ash twist on it, like literally. So now we're done with the major arcanas. I kept a lot of crystals in the cards because crystals, I love crystals, guys. When I was a child, I used to collect rocks. Before that love became crystals, I was outside collecting rocks. I just have this profound love for Mother Earth and what Mother Earth gives us. So doing these wands, I was like, my wands need to have crystals on them, on the tops. Like they just need to be, they need to pop. You know what I mean? They need to stand out. And so my Ace of Wands stands out. There are some traditional things supposed to be like the wands breaking through the clouds, I believe. We got the castle in the background, everything that you could work for. I kept this wand very beautiful with a big crystal on the top for people to understand that like all it takes is that little spark of hope, it just takes that little drive, that little fire, right, to get something started. This card really reflects this deck and me creating this deck too, like no other. And then we got the 2, of course, and I told you guys, the 2 is the face. And I told you guys in the beginning why the 2 is the face. She is the face because that's that inspired actions. Having the world in your hand is traditional. Having the wands on the side is traditional with the water in the background because it's a journey. So I did keep some traditional things here because I really resonated with the traditional meanings of this card. But she ended up being the face. She's beautiful. She has her crystals on her. These wands, they're beautiful with the amethyst because, you know, we need the amethyst to open up our third eye so that we're able to intuitively receive messages when we're taking these inspired actions. You know what I mean? So that's why I made the, you know, gave the amethyst on the top of the wands. And, you know, her holding the world in her hands, because this is a reminder that we have the world in our hands when we have the 2 of the wands. We just need to take inspired actions. And what I mean by inspired actions is like the universe guiding you, seeing synchronicities. You say, hey, you get this ideal, this epiphany in your mind. And then all of a sudden you're starting to see 111s, 222s, or, you know, what some people would call coincidences, but we know they're synchronicities. And then you're just like, oh, I gotta do this. This card is why this card is the face of the deck, because this card represents what it took for me to create this deck. It took that 2 of wands, that inspired actions. The 3 is a little bit on the traditional sense. She has, you know, she's on a beach with the 3 of wands, because the 3 of wands is usually like needing to take a journey. Sometimes you got to take that journey on your own. That's another reason why she is by herself. And once again, I wanted this deck to really be a self-reflective type of deck. You know, I've seen, and one of my favorite decks, the 3 of wands, is a man in a boat and a woman and a child on the outside of the boat. And he's like, are you going to get in this boat with me? Or not? Because if not, I gotta go. And that's what happens when you have these inspired actions. You got this 2 of wands, you got these inspired actions, then you gotta go with the 3 of wands. Another one of my favorites is the 4 of wands. The 4 of wands, you know, the traditionals, there are some traditionals. You know, she has the grape reef, changed it up, had the red grapes and the green grapes. The wands is holding it up, right? Holding it up, and she has her castle in the background. Usually in the traditional one, you know, there's a castle, I believe, and like people are like dancing around and they're celebrating, because this is like the celebration type of card. This is celebrating, you know, what you started. It's the celebration of that inspired actions, and that taking, and then that moving forward and taking leaps, and then celebrating the movements of that, right? Because now you've started something, now you got to start working now, but you got to stop in the middle and you got to celebrate. It's like celebrating your small successes. And we see a lot of that too with the 4 of wands. And I have her by herself. I have her castle in the background. I have her peaceful looking. I have her dancing, because sometimes, guys, we have to celebrate our successes and our wins by ourselves. Some of us, you know, we have to celebrate unfortunately, we have to celebrate some of our wins and successes on our own and by ourselves. But it's very important to be able to celebrate and be happy for your accomplishments on your own without looking for the validation or the happiness of others of what you've achieved. And that's one of the reasons why she is by herself. She needs to celebrate her small successes and her big ones, even if there's no one there to celebrate them with her, because that's all that matters. Now, of course, she's going to go back to the castle and there's going to be people, and I was going to put other people in this card, and then I decided no, I wanted her to stand out. And that's another reason too, I put a lot of people, a lot of these characters in the cards by themselves, because I wanted the focus to be on them. And sometimes it's hard to focus when there's 2, 3, 4, 5 things going on in there. But celebrating your wins and your successes, sometimes it's an individual thing, for real, guys. And I know we've all been there. And sometimes people really aren't happy for us, even our loved ones, and, you know, and our you know, friends, or whatever the case may be. Sometimes people aren't happy for us. And so, you know, we got to learn to celebrate our successes on our own. We got to learn to go out, you know, and on our own, go to the restaurant on our own. You got to learn to do things on your own and enjoy yourself and celebrate yourself. So she's one of my favorites. She's also one of my favorites, even though she's not my favorite in the scheme of things. Nobody wants to pull the 5 of wands. She is not like the traditional. I did take the concept from one of my favorite decks. In that deck, she was a man is in a boat with his wands in the boat, and there's a castle in the background. and the water's all crazy. You can't tell if he's coming or if he's going, but you could tell it's rocky. I didn't want it to necessarily be like 5 people in dispute with themselves, because if you are aligned in your mind and you are, if you're aligned in general, if you are having disputes with other people, but you're aligned, you're really not having disputes with other people, if that makes sense. And so this card, you know, you got the rocky water back here, her hair is flowing, the wind's blowing, but she has this like kind of calm, peaceful look on her face, because it's like, yeah, when you have the 5 of Wands, you are dealing with disputes, you're dealing with setbacks, you're dealing with conflicts and issues. But if you remain calm and cool and collected, it will all work out in the end. Because it always works out in the end anyways. And that's why we have the 6 of Wands. He had to go through this to get to this. You got to go through the disputes and all the trauma to get to the reward and the success and the accomplishments of the 6 of Wands. There's some traditional things here with the 6 of Wands. But, you know, it was him coming in, like, I collected all of these. I just went through the 5. I just went through some things to get here. But now let's celebrate the success. And, you know, in some of the traditional cards, there are people standing around. I was going to, but then once again, I decided not to. I decided, let's keep this more of a self-reflective, and let's have the eye focus on him and his horse coming in after this great accomplishment, because that's what this card represents. The 7 is simple. He is building his foundation, right? He's staying on guard, which is what you got to do with the 7 of Wands. You got to be on guard. You got to build that foundation. You got to protect what's yours, you know? The 8 of Wands is kind of traditional. Some of them are looking out the window at the wands or have someone standing there. Me, I just wanted you to see the wands pass by for opportunities, because this card is the opportunity card. I love my amethyst, so we maybe see a lot of amethyst, purple like crystals, but it's like these wands, the direction and how they're set up are a little bit more on the traditional side. But a lot of this card, like I said, it represents opportunities. It represents fast forward movement. It also represents don't let things pass you by, right? Like, I'm here in your sight, take advantage of me. This card can also mean that you have a lot of you're trying to make a decision, you have a lot of choices, and you're just like, dang, I got all these choices right here. And that's what this card represents. I did a good job just, you know, showing that, keeping it vibrant, keeping the wands, of course, beautiful and gorgeous. We have the 9 of Wands. She's a little different in the traditional sense, because, you know, a lot of people see the more of a conflict with the 9 of Wands. I just was more of like, yeah, she built up her foundation. So she's kind of resting. She's almost to the 10. Like, you know, she's getting it in there, but, you know, she's building that, you know, she's building that foundation. She's got them going. She's here now. She's almost to the 10, right? And once we get to the 10, she's not super traditional. I think the traditional might have had the wands on the back maybe. And she might look a little bit more tired. She's tired, but she put the damn wands down. They don't necessarily need to be on my back, okay? It doesn't mean that I just did not carry the whole team, my whole family, this whole situation on my back. Kind of like I created this deck. I was carrying so much weight on my back that, you know, I felt like her. Once I was done, I was like, all right, let me put it down and let me take a quick rest. Let me take a break. But she is tired, guys. She just went through all this, you know. She started off with that ace and, you know, she did her inspired action. She took that leap. She celebrated her small successes. You know, she still built her foundation, and now she is here. I kept a lot of my pages simple because the pages are simple. They're like the start, you know. He's coming with a message. He's coming with a bit of a spark. He's coming with a little bit of hope, you know, and that and I kept it simple. I kept them simple. The wands here, oh, this one's funny. I cut off the wands because I was like, I wanted him to be like, he went through some things, right? Like, it started off like this, but he ended up like this, right? But he started off on foot. He came back with a horse. Like, he started off with a full back. He came full wand. He came back with like a half a wand because he just went through some things, you know. But like, he's starting to build more momentum. He's starting to see his success. He's starting to see things pay off. You know, his hair started off shorter. Now it's longer, representing that there takes time to go in between those. And that's what I did with these cards. Then we have the beautiful Queen of Wands. Had fun with her. Had fun with her. Love the afro. Her crown is like huge. It's like, you know, maintaining her afro. She's got the Palo Santos in her hand, guys. I literally did that on purpose. I was like, I just want to have fun with this card. Someone's like, just have fun with it. You know what I mean? And I was like, let me put this so I can cleanse the energy. Like, we need to cleanse this energy. And we have that spark and that hope. And she took inspired actions in the beginning of her journey, and she put the fire towards things. Now she's cleansing the room. She's got her beautiful wand in her hand, and she's like, what y'all want from me? You know, this wand representing, you know, emeralds and jade and just these greens and just beautiful. I love her. I love her. I was just having fun, you know, and she's sitting on her throne. We got her king there. He's chilling. Look at him. He's got his crystals. He's got his beautiful wand over here, you know, representing emerald, and just, once again, just gorgeous, you know, just representing that whole, I had all the fire, and now, you know, I'm resting. And you'll see a lot of my kings and my queens kind of resting, you know. I put the glasses on them, you know. We got to put some different touches in there. We just had to. I just had to do it. So that's it for the wands. Now we are over here with the swords. The swords were fun. I am an air sign, so for me, the swords really resonate just because, you know, I am an air sign. But the swords really represents, you know, thoughts and, you know, what it is in our minds. And so the Ace of Swords is like that inspired actions, that aha moment, that epiphany, which was another, you know, thing towards this deck and me creating it, was that epiphany, that vision, like, oh, and I just saw in my mind's eyes this entire deck. Like, it's a trip. And so we have this hand holding it, you know, it's kind of traditional, holding the sword and the crown on it, because it's like, that's what you're fighting for. You're fighting to get to the queen and the king of swords, but you got to start from somewhere. Then we have the beautiful Two of Swords, which usually represents decision making. She's kind of in the traditional sense. I think the traditional one some of them might be blindfolded. I just can't remember right now. That's another thing. Like, my memory, guys, my deck is so embedded in my brain. I have to go and look at other decks just to remember things, because I was just on one. But anyways, so when we think of the Two of Swords, we're thinking about decisions. It's time to make a decision. And so she's holding the two swords, and they're different. They're kind of different swords in a sense of like the different things that you need to, that you're pondering on. But I have her in a meditative state, because sometimes, not sometimes, most of the time in my mind, if you're pondering on a decision, you need to meditate, kind of like that Hanged Man, release and whatnot, to be able to see things from a different perspective, to be able to help make a decision. And that's another reason why this card has a lot of the purples, is for that third eye, being able to open up your third eye to sense things and feel things, so that you can intuitively make that decision. So beautiful, beautiful. Love her. Okay, so we all really don't love the Three of Swords. No one wants to see the Three of Swords. It's like the Tower and the Three of Swords and the Five of Wands are like the cards I really don't want to see. And maybe like the Ten of Swords, which we'll get to in a minute. But I kept this really simple, more in the traditional sense, but I wanted it to pop. And so I was like, let's make this heart, like let's keep, you know, these three colors, white, red, and blue, but let's make it pop. So when people see this card, they're just like, oh God, the Three of Swords, like, is someone being deceitful? Like, is someone like playing me? Am I playing myself? You know what I mean? And you might get kind of sad, but when you see how colorful this card is and how these colors pop, it's like, okay, it's one of them cards you don't want to pull, but it's nice to look at. Four is about pondering, right? Meditating again, pondering on decisions. I think in some of the traditionals, they might be sleeping, the thing, you know, but for me, it was like, it's all about your mind. And when you got to get out of your mind, especially if you're an air sign, to do that is a lot of the meditation, pondering on decisions, seeing things from a different perspective, seeing things for what they really are, and using that to make these decisions, to for the things that are keeping us up at night, for the things that are bothering us or making us feel a way about whatever, for us needing to get out of our own heads, which is every sign, not just air signs. It just unfortunately can be a little harder for air signs. And then we have the Five of Swords. You know, there's conflict. I did put someone walking away. She's got all the swords because she was just in battle. And she kind of looks tore up, like, you know, she's got a little scratch on her face, like she's been fighting. Like she's been fighting hard, but she got them swords. She got all of them. She is ready to move on to the next, which is literally what this card is walking away from some things. The Six of Swords is about walking away. There are some things that are traditional about this card, and they're not. This card reminds me a lot of my favorite deck, walking across a bridge, the bridge of, you know, with these swords, and she has a backpack on, a light, you know, because usually the Six of Swords will represent like a person carrying like a light bag walking across a bridge, literally, meaning that they're going to the next phase in their life. It's like a passage type of card. It's the next journey. It's also walking away from things that no longer serve you, which we got here in the Five, right? Like, you know what? I got my mind back, my sanity back. Now I'm leaving. I'm going to something else. The Seven of Swords is, you know, it's the imposter syndrome type of card. It's the card where you're way too in your mind about things, where it's impacting you physically, mentally, emotionally, however, but it's impacting you. And that's kind of what I wanted this card to look like. Like, she's just like, oh, like this look on her face, like, oh, I just need to get out of my mind, like just thinking too much. Also, this card can mean deceit and people being deceitful. So then it's just like, you know, I kind of made the swords look kind of like they were like stabbing her in the back behind her, because it was just like, you never know what's behind you, what people are doing behind you, right? Behind closed doors type of situation with that card. The Eight of Swords is not really I think the only thing that I really have traditional about the Eight is the blindfold. I think in my favorite deck that I used, it was like a person inside of a castle, and, you know, and they're looking out of, like, they're like prisoner, right? So I wanted this card to, because this card, when we think that this card is literally like being prisoner of your thoughts. And so being prisoner of your thoughts here, and feeling like you're not able to see things for what they really are, but yet these swords are in front of him, like they're trying to block him, but he could literally remove his hands from his pockets, remove the blindfold so that he can see. And so this card represents needing to remove the wool from your eyes to see things from a different perspective, or what they really are, but to get out of your mind and not put yourself in prisoner of it, because that's literally what these cards are representing big time. The Nine of Swords, what's keeping you up at night, is what I wanted her, you know, which is really what the traditional card is, keeping you up at night. I have her sitting up because she can't sleep, because she's so far in her head she can't even fall asleep from all the things that are keeping her up at night. So, you know, love it. She just has this look on her face like, man, I just can't anymore. And that's what brings us to her. That's what brings us to the Ten of Swords, is I can't do it no more. You know, I had all I can take. And, you know, the Ten of Swords is being stabbed in your back. The Ten of Swords is a lot of individual, you know, you individually just can't take no more of what's keeping you up at night, like you feeling defeated. And, you know, so in this card, I think in some of the traditionals, the person's laying down and literally have like swords in their back. I was like, okay, it's a harsh card. It is harsh. You know, I even got her crying blood, guys. Like, I was like, okay, I want it to be like as harsh as like the traditional, with Ash's twist, of course. So it's like all these swords stabbing her, and like she even crying blood, but she also has like this very peaceful look on her face, because then it's almost like you gotta give in, and you gotta let go, and you just gotta kind of let things be what they are, and you gotta get out of your head. And sometimes you may lose the battle, but that doesn't mean you're gonna lose the war. And that's what we see with her. My pages, like I said, I kept my pages pretty simple. You know, sometimes the Page of Swords can, you know, mean, you know, not good, you know, naiveness, youngness is what the swords or the pages are representing. I don't have him having much, because he's still on the start of that journey. He can also be a messenger coming with things. It can be someone that doesn't have good intent coming. You know, there's all these different meanings for it. But in my mind, I just want to for sure keep my pages as simple as possible, because, you know, he started off there and now he's here. with the Knight of Swords, right? And you know, this Knight of Swords is a strategic thinker. This is the person to start thinking of something, but the Knight of Swords is the one that's going to carry it out. He's going to go out into the field, right? You know, to fight. When we're thinking about just life, go out into the field, take that chance, take that hope, take that leap of faith, start strategically thinking of how to win the war, how to get through the situation you're going through. I call it war, but it's whatever you got going on is what we got going here. You know, he did. And of course I wanted my knights to really look like they were like fighting, but I wanted to really keep, because I have this like kind of like this boho hippie type of like theme with this deck, which I should have mentioned in the beginning. I didn't. And that's kind of why their clothing is the way that it is. And so I was like, I got to keep some crystals or something on him so that although he doesn't match really the vibe, it's because he's out there, like he needs his armor on him. One of my favorite queens, the Queen of Swords. She's that strategic thinker. She is, you know, she's the one that is able to use her thoughts to create her reality. And she's worked hard to use her thoughts to create her reality. And I put the grapes in her hand, representing, because, you know, grapes represent wealth and abundance and success. So it was like, I'm holding my success in my hand. She has her sword in her other hand, and she has this look on this face like, I dare you. I dare you to step, for real. Like, I dare you to jump. If you're feeling froggy, jump. I got you. But she's still beautiful with her boho hippie-like theme. And yeah, so she's just gorgeous and she's just chilling. And then, of course, we have her king, and he's the king of it all, you know, representing Aquarius energy, a lot of that very strategical thinker that strategically planned out everything to get him to where he's at. He has his sword. He's also unbothered, just chilling. He's got his crystals on, and he's just like, what? Like, I've gotten here, and he's thinking right now. Like, I wanted him to look like I'm thinking. I'm in thought right now as we speak, always thinking. So that is the swords. Now we're going on to the coins. The coins is going to be so fun to talk about, guys. I decided not to go with the pentacles. I decided not to go with pentacles and went with coins instead. I really wanted my deck to reach non-spiritual, maybe even more religious people, because there are religious people that are starting to turn to tarot. There are religious people that are starting to see that they may be more spiritual. In my mind, that's okay. I guess it's not okay for some of these religions, but in my mind, that's fine. And so I said, you know what? I don't want to put pentacles, because pentacles has a bad rep. Love my pentacles, guys. Don't get it twisted. I have pentacle jewelry. You know, I love my pentacles, but I was like, sometimes pentacles they just get a bad rep, you know? And I was like, I want people to get this deck that, you know, may not be super spiritual, that may not be witches, that may not be Wiccan, that may not be pagan, like that, you know what I mean? Like, and may not necessarily care too much for the pentacle. Well, the pentacles is the coin. It's the same thing. And so I was like rebelling. And some of the older decks too, guys, are coins and not pentacles. And so I was like, I could go either way. And it really resonated on me to just go with coins instead. And so that's why I went with the coins. That's my coin story. And what's cool about my ace of coins and just all of this abundant and beautiful lushness behind this coin is this is the only coin that I put this beautiful African melanated goddess on the coin. She's only on this coin. And the reason why is because the ace of coins in my mind is about, you know, investing in your dreams, investing in your goals, investing in your health, investing in your wealth, right? Because the coins is represented, or the pentacles is represented with earth signs and earth energy. So it's all about that in my mind. And in my mind, if you have this one, it's like the lucky coin out of all the coins, right? She's like the luckiest coin. You just need that one lucky coin, just one, to start something immaculate, you know. You just need that one coin. Like with me, it's just like with this deck, like I just needed that one coin, that one lucky coin, that one golden ticket to manifest a great life and to work my way up. And so that's why that's the only coin that has her on it, This is kind of traditional. We got the boat in the background. We got the infinity sign, infinite possibilities. We got the 2 coins in his hands. Kept that as like, hey, you got these, your balancing act. You need to balance what you got going on so that you can, do you need to go get on that ship so that you can do what you need to do? So some of the traditional things there. The 3 of coins is about collaboration. I did put a couple of people in the bottom, but it's about being that leader, but collaborating with people and to make things happen. And so we have that there. The 4 is after that collaboration, you're starting to build foundation for yourself. So she's chilling. She's got her coin there, her coins here, and her coins here. So she's starting to invest. Like that's what the 4 of coins and the 4 of pentacles represents, like starting to invest in your dreams, starting to invest in what it is that you want in your life. And so that's what we did there. This has some traditional aspects too, the struggle. We know the 5 of coins is the struggle. It also can mean, struggle financially, and it can mean struggle with your health. And so what we got going on right here is we literally got we got the stained glass. In the traditional, I think they're like in a church or something. They're trying to, they're praying, trying to pray for change, for things to change. And we got that here. We got this look on her face. I threw some glasses on her. We got this look on her face of despair, of poverty kind of look on her face, like just hoping like something's gonna change for her. So, like I said, there's some of the traditional things here, but that's what this card represents. It represents, hey, like you're going through a hardship. You'll get through the hardship. You'll get through the hardship so much that you'll be able to share your wealth and what you've gotten when you got through your hardship with others. And that's what we have with the 6 of coins. It may not be too on the traditional. I kept the way the coins are on the card to some of the cards decks that I've used in the past. And then, but he's handing the coins over, and that's what this card is about. It's about sharing your success in your wealth with others, sharing your knowledge with others, and giving, because you have to give to receive. You can't just always receive. And that's what people fail to realize. Like you have to give to receive. That's the circle of life. Like that's just how it is. And that's what this card represents. And what's cool is it comes right after hardship. So right after hardship, you get in there. And then once you get there with the 7 of coins, there's some traditional things, but it was like have these coins growing on this tree in the background and having her just kind of looking peaceful. And it's kind of like, like I'm watching my seeds grow. And that's literally what this card means. It's like I'm watching, like me creating this deck. I was like watching my baby grow. Like I was watching this deck grow, each card after every single card. And so this card represents, and I feel like I did a good job of, hey, like I have some stuff over here growing. Like I'm growing wealth and abundance, and I'm growing great health, and I'm growing just physically. Yeah. So anyways, the 8 of coins isn't too super traditional. I think he's like at a wood, he's working, he's at work. And the way I put it is, the 8 of coins is like, all that it's almost like you picked you put in all the work of picking all of your coins from here. And now you're sitting here with them. Like I got them stacked. Like this is what this card represents. Like I'm stacking my coins. Like I'm stacking my prosperity. Like there's opportunities for me. Like there's stuff here. Look, I got this one here. I got this all down here. Like I'm chilling. I'm stacked. I worked hard for this, and this is where it's at, is what this card represents. And then once you get there, we get the 9 of coins. I did a raven in her hand. I did, the grapes up here, beautiful, beautiful purples. Of course, you got your gold coins here, and it's all about, and the grapes showing abundance, and this also showing abundance. Like, hey, I built this foundation. I worked really hard. Now I can share. Now I can sit comfortable and sit up here and eat my grapes. Wishes coming true, things working out. This is what this card represents. Like I'm finally in a good spot. I feel comfortable enough to kind of rest. Oops. But you ain't resting yet until you get to the 10 of coins. Now the 10 of coins is not super traditional at all. He doesn't have a family there right near him to celebrate. But what I did do is I put just this abundant lushness behind him with his beautiful castle and all of his coins just chilling. And he's older because, yes, it takes time. It takes time to build generational wealth. It takes time to build wealth. It takes time to build great health. It takes time for all of that. And in my mind, when you're older is usually when you're able to kind of chill out, when you're retiring, hopefully we're retiring before we actually need to retire. But it's one of those things where he's like, he's another older person in the deck representing that time, representing the time that it takes to build this beautiful foundation. And he's out here chilling. He's got his sunglasses on, but it is light. He's out here chilling and enjoying what he's accomplished. Oops. Cool. So when we get into the suits, we're talking about the page. Once again, I kept the pages simple. He has just that one coin. It's not the lucky coin like the ace, but he's just got that one little coin, and he's going to use that to get to where he's going, right? Simple. Kept them super simple on purpose. Did that for a reason. Because next we want to get to the knight. The knight of coins is, once again, like I said, all of my knights are armored up and look like they're ready to go to battle. But what we all know about the knight of coins or the knight of pentacles is he's not really trying to go to the battle. He's rather just finance it. He's got the resources, whether that be money or whatever, to get what he wants. Right? Does that make sense, guys? To get what he wants. He has the resources to get what he wants. And he'd rather utilize that than actually go out into that battle and fight, if that makes sense. And so I have the coins flying around him because he's almost to these statuses over here with my coins royalty. We got the queen here, beautiful queen. She's just sitting here. She has her coins on the sides. It's just a gold card representing that ching ching, that bling bling. When you have good wealth, you have good health. We all know that because you're able to buy better food. You're able to buy yourself experiences, put yourself in better positions. You're not stressing. And that's what she has here. But what I did with her, because it was don't get it twisted. I'm sitting here on my throne. I got all of my coins here. And I especially am letting you know, don't mess with me. Kind of like the Queen of Swords. Don't get it twisted. Check yourself. Don't check yourself before you wreck yourself. Understand that it took me some time and energy to get here. And I went through some things to get here. And I'll be damned if you think that you're going to take it from me. And that's the look that I have on her face with her finger pointing at you. Like what? Then, of course, we have her gorgeous, handsome king, and he's also on his throne with his coins everywhere, chilling, and his accomplishments here right around his neck. And he looks like he's sleeping because, like I said, I wanted my kings to really look like, you know what, I built this, I'm tired, someone else is maintaining it for me, I'm just chillaxing, right? So that's the coins. And then let's go ahead and get through the cups here. The Ace of Cups, beautiful cup, some of the traditional scents, the water coming out. We got the bird here. We got all of the abundance water, because, it takes, the cups is the waters. It takes this water, it's in the emotions to make this beautiful. And I wanted it to look like Colorado, guys. If you don't know, I am from Colorado, and it just reminded me of a beautiful Colorado day. In the summer, up in the mountains, and the start of a new emotion, the start of a new journey. So of course the cup had to stand out. We got our beautiful Two of Cups, some of the traditional symbolisms here. Two people with a cup, that yin, that yang, that masculine, that feminine energy, that love. We know that the cups means love and excitement, and we see a lot of new things starting off with the Two of Cups. It doesn't necessarily have to be a relationship, guys. It could be a start of a new adventure of whatever that means, a new job, a new project, a new journey, a new business, and whatever, right? It's just the start of that and the emotions that come with that. Peaceful, love this, black love here. We got the Three of Cups. I did decide to put 3 women in here. The Three of Cups does represent multiple people, celebrating, partying with multiple people. In the reverse position, it can mean three's a crowd, a third party situation. But, it can mean all those things. But I did decide to throw a couple more people in this card to represent that with others, with the Three of Cups. The Four of Cups, some traditional things here. Four of Cups is all about, not seeing things sometimes for what they are, missing out, not seeing opportunities that are there for you. Sometimes it depending on which position you pull it in and surrounding cards. He's kind of sitting back, you know, he got the cups down here, but he's like kind of like not engaged with what's going on, with what's being handed to him. There are some traditional sense things about this card, as well as the Five of Cups, which we know the Five of Cups is it's almost coming out of like you didn't see what was there for you, and now you're regretting it here with the Five of Cups. He looks sad. I made him look sad, depressed, hopeless, all of that. You have to with the fives, and the fives are not the greatest. If you know tarot, they are usually the struggle, conflict cards. And so he's chilling over the spilled milk here without really realizing that he has these cups back here, and that's what this card represents. It's like, hey, you always got some cups back here. You gotta sometimes let the spilled milk just be what it is. And sometimes to do that, you gotta get yourself back into that childlike mindset. The Six of Cups, I've seen so many different Six of Cups. Originally I was gonna have multiple kids, and I just decided it to be an individual person, because it's you going back and digging deep into your childhood. What is it that brought you hope and joy and faith? And what was your childhood dreams? And sometimes we have to get back to that. And so when we pull this card, it's bringing us back to that, where we weren't conditioned to think that we couldn't get what we want or do what we want when we were children. And so she's got these beautiful cups with these crystals on it, and she's just sitting here and she's just chilling, and she's beautiful, right? And it's cool, that youngness and that young full energy and mindsets. Usually in the traditional, you'll have someone looking at the cups that are flying. I just got the cups flying. Sometimes we can be in la la land. Sometimes we can be delusional. Sometimes we have to be delusional. We have to be delusional about the things that we want when other people can't see our vision. And that's what this card represents. So there are some traditional aspects, but the cups kind of flying around, opportunities. There are opportunities for you, decisions, and things of that sort when we get this card. We got the infamous Eight of Cups. That moving on, the grass being greener on the other side, letting go, letting things be what they are. If you pull in reverse position, it could be, regretting leaving, things not being like they were. And so I have the cups lined up kind of like in some of the traditional cards. I have her chilling away from the castle, because it's like one of those things where it's like, I think it's time to go. Like, this is no longer serving me. Like, I need to step outside and get away. And that's what this card represents. And that's why the castle's in afar from her, because it's just like, you know what? Like, it's time for me to make a change. The Nine of Cups, wishes coming true, dream fulfillment, sharing, happiness, joy, all of that fun stuff with this. She has the 9 cups here. She's smiling, big, beautiful afro. I love her to death. She's got her coins on her. She is just like, what? Like, what? Like, I did all this. I took a risk and a chance. I moved forward. I moved on. And now I'm able to celebrate with others, and I am happy. And then right after that, we have the 10 of Cups. I did decide, because it is the family, known to be the family card, I decided to go ahead and put a family in here, have their castle in the background, the cups over their head, with the crystals on the cups, and them all smiling. Happy life, happy wife card. Everything is good in the homestead. Like, emotionally, you're lined up and you're balanced, and your family is, and everything is good. The hottest masculine energy of the deck is, I would say it's the Page of Cups. The Knight of Cups is where it's at. We want the Page of Cups, but he's starting. He's just starting that journey again, and made him gorgeous. I was like, he's too gorgeous, but we had to have some eye candy. I wanted this deck to be beautiful. I wanted the characters to be beautiful. I wanted people that are doing readings with these cards to feel beautiful, and he's gorgeous. Some of the traditional things, the water, the fish in the cup, but this is all about the start of those journeys, the start of the new emotional state of life, the start of a passion, something you're passionate about, but you're almost there, but you're not there, but you're almost there. We got, of course, the wonderful Knight of Cups. Everybody wants to pull the Knight of Cups. I'll be wanting to pull the King of Cups, but hey, you know, it is what it is. He is the romance. He is the romantic. He is the lover. He is the passionate one. He is the caring one emotionally. So I was like, let me throw some roses in there. let me throw this, you know, this crystal here on the beautiful cup. And he's coming in like the knight in shining armor that he is. Literally. He's grown. You know, he's obviously older than this one. His hair is grown out, you know. They're gorgeous. They're gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Oh my goodness. I could just look at these all day. But anyway, so, you know, it's like getting there, that knight in shining armor, but from a self perspective, the Knight of Cups also represents your own passion and desire towards what it is that you want to do. So we always have to remember that too. It's not always about like someone else in our lives. And I always really push that, people. You know me, like I'm like, screw doing a love reading. Let's do a self reading. What do you need to do to work on yourself so that you can bring that love into your life? But anyways, guys, so then we have the beautiful Queen of Cups. We got all of these crystals. We got the crystals on the cups. We got her chilling. She's gorgeous. She's just like, hey, you know, like I'm good, you know. I'm emotionally balanced. I am very passionate about what I do. I put passion to everything that I do, and everything just flourishes around me. And the cups are water signs, so that flourishing and nurturing aspect of this card is very crucial, and that's what she has. And then of course we have her king, and he is chilling, and I put some sunglasses on him. He has his beautiful cup there. We also have the crystals on the cup and on his crowns. Got to keep the crystals going. And he's chilling. He's been through it. He's been through all of this to get to where he was. He followed, he used his emotions to guide him. He used his emotions to inspire him. He used his emotions and his passions to get to where he's at. So that's my King of Cups, guys. And so that is a full review, official review of the deck. I did kind of rush at the end because I know this video is long, but it's a long video. We had to go through all 78 cards and talk about what was going on with them. Like I said, I did forget to mention that this is kind of like a boho hippie-like theme. We got a lot of boho-like hippie you know, outfits on them, you know, cool, nonchalant, not too serious. The deck has the crystals throughout. We are, you know, we have some traditional aspects of the deck and some some of what I see. And so this is the Divine Melanin Tarot deck, guys. And I just want to say thank you for everyone that's purchased a deck so far, and everyone that's given us so much feedback and positive, heartfelt reviews and feedback that we received, and all of the people that have bought in a deck. Like I can't even put it into words. Like the Divine Melanin Tarot deck community is growing every day, and it's been such an amazing, inspiring experience that I'm still almost still pinching myself. Did this really happen? Did I see this deck, this entire deck run through my mind, and then now it's here for you guys and for us to celebrate Divine Melanin, for us to celebrate Blackness, for us to celebrate representation, for us to celebrate equity and inclusion, for us to know that, you know, Black is beautiful and that it's okay. And this deck is not just for melanated people. This deck is for anybody. We've had all different types of nationalities purchase this deck. We've had male and females purchase this deck. This deck is for everybody. This deck is for anybody that wants to feel empowered, for anybody that wants to feel beautiful, for anybody that wants to feel amazing when doing a tarot reading, to have that confidence and courage, to have that eye candy as well, right? To feel it, the energy. We've gotten so much feedback about the energy. I put so much energy into creating this deck, guys, that people are feeling the energy, and that in itself is worth more than words. It's worth more than anything that I can explain. To hear people tell me about how they feel the energy in this deck that I put so much energy in, guys. And I know it's starting to get a lot late, but I did want to show you guys, like I said in the beginning, I do have the linen deck too. So I just want to show you guys the linen deck, and the quality of the linen deck too is so nice too as well. Let me flip it over. Sturdy, sturdy, sturdy. I always recommend these for heavy-handed people. Usually I do a shuffle. I do what I like to call the light shuffles. So something like that, just so that I can keep my decks lasting really long. But they shovel very well. Love them, love them. We have both editions available on our website. Beautiful, beautiful, vibrant, so vibrant. I almost wanted it to be a little bit more vibrant, but it came out so colorful. I wanted it to be super colorful, guys. I was like, I can't have no dull, boring. Like, I need it to be beautiful. I need it to be colorful. I need it to stand out. I want people to feel empowered when they're doing a reading, and that's literally what we got. So linen deck, linen material. Oh my goodness, cards flying everywhere. There's just a short little preview of the linen for you guys to see. I am so glad that we got it done and we got it out there. If you guys do not follow us on social media, follow on social media. You will see more videos and stuff about the decks there and everything going on with the deck. Here, let me do a quick shuffle of... This is the standard deck that we have on our website. I use mine daily. It's still in very good condition. The quality is good. These are so smooth. This is that superior smooth in your hands. Usually I, when I do this, let's see what we got going on here. We got all these come out. What we got here, we got that Ten of Swords. We got that letting go of things that you cannot control, using your intuition to guide you. Don't let things keep you up at night no more. And you are very magical, and anything that you want to do in your life, you are very magical, but some things you might have to let go and pay attention to your instincts, guys. That's so cool to just pull those out really quick for just a reminder for you guys. But yeah, here we go, my baby. I birthed this deck like I birthed my sons, guys. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much for watching.